All right, well, with that said, let us roll right on to our Monday Night Raw review. And we open up with the Authority.
Yeah, and are you sure that this was actually Monday Night Raw? Because it felt an awful lot like Monday Night infomercial for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I was going to call it Monday Night Recap myself, but I mean, because they pretty much just, again, recap this whole card that you could have
They
read on the
literally
website.
went over every match that's been made official so far.
That was the segment, guys.
Yeah, that's all it was. Lesnar Taker, Cena Rollins, Wyatt and Harper versus Ambrose and Reigns, the Divas 3-team trios elimination match, and then they did bring up that we were going to be getting Nikki versus Sasha tonight, and then they announced that Jon Stewart was going to be hosting SummerSlam. And then Randy Orton's music hits and we get into our first match.
Yeah, we get into our first match, which I believe was Randy Orton and Cesaro versus Sheamus and Owens, correct?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, not a bad match, a fun tag team match, all things considered, but the end comes when Sheamus gets RKO'd and pinned by Orton, and then Owens, is restrained on the outside by Cesaro, so of course he couldn't break it up, so Orton and Cesaro get the win. I don't really know if I agree with the booking decision of Orton pinning Sheamus in a tag match if they're supposed to have a singles match at SummerSlam this Sunday.
How dumb was that? Like, okay, that happened a few times tonight too. It's weird. But like now, okay, Orton just pinned Sheamus, so he proved that he was the better man, so why would I even want to see that match on Sunday?
Right. And you even said that to me in conversation. That's the funny thing, because I remember
Oh,
you
and
saying
by
that
the way,
to me.
I know not necessarily on topic, but before the match started, they did establish that SportsCenter will be live at SummerSlam, and Jonathan Coachman will be on hand to cover the event.
That's going to be so cool. I love the coach.
I kind of wish he would be on commentary too, because
I know, right?
just replace JBL as hard as you possibly can.
Anyone but you, Bradshaw. Anyone but you.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's definitely my new phrase.
But yeah, Orton and Cesaro get the win. Honestly, and as much as I hate these, which I just kind of want to establish that so you know why I'm saying it, I almost wish this match would have gotten thrown out, because again, like you, Orton pinned Sheamus. Well, my interest gets even further diminished for that match.
I wish Cesaro would have pinned Sheamus.
Yeah, that would have, in fact, you're right. Screw throwing the match out. If you needed a definitive finish, why not have the two guys, in the other programs just pin each other?
You could even have Kevin Owens pin Randy Orton, since Sheamus loses all the frickin' time. Why not have his opponent lose one too?
And how great would that make Owens look?
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, why does everything always have to be Orton and Sheamus? Why couldn't you involve the other guys? This was a tag team match, right?
Because sharing isn't caring after all, Ashton.
Although, from what I understand, I actually missed this match. I was preoccupied. Wasn't there a moment where Kevin Owens actually threw Sheamus into Orton, who hit the RKO?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so
yeah, I think, yeah.
I guess that makes a little bit more sense, but just still, it should have been Cesaro, not Orton.
Well,
and it's so funny that I'm saying that, because like if someone's tuning in to TwitWow for the first time ever, they probably think that I'm one of those super typical like IWC circle jerk, like Cena sucks, Orton sucks, Sheamus sucks, Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose the best. But no, like if I had to make a Fave 5 in WWE, my top 3 would probably be like Lesnar, Sheamus, and Sasha Banks. No, not even joking.
Right.
Sheamus I freaking love Sheamus, and Orton would probably be in my Fave 5 too, but he didn't need this.
He didn't. No, if anything, I mean, hell, like you said, Cesaro could have used it. Owens could have used it, because I don't think their match has been officially announced. And can you give one of them some steam back? I mean, I'm not saying I've lost interest in either guy. I don't want to go that far. I mean, that's I might
be the only person left on the internet that doesn't have Cesaro in their Fave 5, and that's exclusively because I'm afraid to get invested again because of what happened the last time I did.
Welcome to my world, partner. Welcome to my world.
Well,
you have anything else?
We can get involved. At least you could get invested in Johnny Mundo again and have faith that Lucha Underground will handle him properly.
He beat Alberto El Patron. I just want to remind everybody that happened. That's on record.
And for those of you that want to know how we reacted to it when it happened, go check out Ultima Lucha Part 2 live reactions.
Do it! Yeah. Anyway, I have nothing else to say about this tag match, so we can
neither do I. Up next, they just kind of reestablished, hey guys, did you know that Brock Lesnar and Undertaker are having a match at SummerSlam? Because they're in the building tonight.
Your faux enthusiasm game is so on point.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while.
Yeah, because it is though. Because it is. Then after that, didn't we get Becky Lynch versus Tamina, or am I jumping the gun here?
You're jumping the gun because up next we had the Undertaker's voice, and he had this promo on screen. I guess he just kind of stole Bray Wyatt's smoky backstage area.
It's like, Bray, can I borrow this? I mean, I did beat you at WrestleMania 31. Yeah,
It was in our contract.
All I remember from this promo was Taker saying to Lesnar that the Hellhounds are coming for him.
I remember him saying, "Your name will be called, and you will never rest in peace."
Do you get it, Ashton? Because it's usually he will rest in peace, but he hates Lesnar so much that he'll never rest in peace. Do you get it?
I get it. I'm so glad you laid it out for me, though, because I didn't get it before you did that.
Oh my goodness, John being helpful for the win. Xbox achievement unlocked.
You're almost as helpful as Michael Cole was all night reminding us that this match was happening.
I know, right? I mean, not a bad promo from The Undertaker, but again, like, and this is coming from a guy that when I was a kid, and like the years, I'd say like, 02 to maybe like 06, 07, like, Undertaker did have that allure to me, and just that presence. Like, when I knew he was on the scene or he showed up at a SmackDown, like, I was glued. Like,
see, and I got to admit, I'm not quite as into the Undertaker allure as you were, because I've been watching wrestling since like 96, 7, 8, somewhere in that range.
right.
The first wrestling show I ever saw was 96, but when I started really following WWE was 98. And I honestly, even in the Attitude Era, when he had like the Ministry of Darkness and stuff, and then he turned into the American Badass, I have never gotten it. It's like it's never clicked with me as far as the Undertaker goes. And it's not that I've ever disliked him. I've never really disliked him either. But like even leading up to the whole WrestleMania stuff with Shawn Michaels, I was like, yeah, they'll put on a good match. I just don't care. And that's how I feel now. I might be the only wrestling fan on the planet that just doesn't care about the Undertaker.
Yeah, so like, if there was like a wrestling supercard with all sorts of superstars, and maybe like Shinsuke Nakamura was main eventing against somebody, and Taker was also in a high profile match, you'd probably be like, oh my god, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Undertaker's there too. So there you go.
I would probably be like, oh my god, Shinsuke Nakamura's on this card, and Brock Lesnar, and yeah, Undertaker, Sting. There are going to be so many people that love that, and I mean, I'll watch it too. I'll watch it. Yeah. I will watch it. I will.
Not a bad backstage promo. Like, again, it had that vibe, but man, it's the age, it's the fact that again,
it's crazy too, because like anytime I think about, like, and it's gotten so rare. This is something that I did more like 4 or 5 years ago than I do now. But when I would get into my like fantasy booking zones, where I was like, what's my ideal WrestleMania card? If I had to make one right now, I don't know if Undertaker would be facing Sting. It's that simple. Undertaker versus Sting writes its freaking self, and the WWE is going so far out of their way to not do it. It blows my mind.
Don't ruin the plan, WWE. Stick to it. But yeah, that's all I want to say.
That's kind of like how freaking Cesaro Lesnar wrote itself for last WrestleMania, because right after WrestleMania 30, all of a sudden now Cesaro joins forces with Heyman. Cesaro and Lesnar should have happened at WrestleMania 31. They should have built Cesaro properly, but they went super far out of their way to screw him over.
They did. They really did. That still doesn't taste good all this time later. But yeah, solid, I guess, backstage, thing from the dead man. And
the crazy thing is, even after they started screwing over Cesaro, where they would have him and Lesnar, or him and Heyman come out, and Heyman would talk about nothing but Lesnar, they still could have worked with that, because they could have turned that into an angle where Cesaro got angry and bitter towards Heyman and started cutting promos on him about how he never talks him up.
Yeah, I was always waiting for the day that Cesaro would just look perturbed that Heyman was talking about.
No, Heyman just kind of moved on to Curtis Axel.
Right, yeah. Yeah. I was waiting for the day when Cesaro would just become perturbed, shoot Heyman some dirty looks and then start cutting those promos. But then, and Curtis Axel happened. And I'm grateful for it.
Wasn't Curtis Axel before Cesaro?
No, Curtis Axel. Actually, wait a minute. Yeah, you know what? I think he was. Yeah. He was.
Cesaro just kind of got trapped in mid-card hell.
Yeah, he did.
All right. Yeah, well, I mean, I depressed myself, and I'm sure I depressed a bunch of other people too. So now let's move on to our next match, which wasn't even the match that you thought it was, John.
Wow, I'm off my game. What was it?
And actually, before the match, speaking of jumping the gun, before the match started, We did have a backstage segment, Seth Rollins talking to the Authority.
Oh yeah, that's right. Looking for his own statue once he
Yeah.
unifies the championships. Consolidates that WWE World Heavyweight title and the US title. And he's like, Bruno Sammartino, Andre the Giant, Ultimate Warrior. I want my own statue. And Seth's just got the perfect douche face because somebody's like, well, are you saying you want your own statue? Well, I didn't say it. You did. Oh, Seth. No, you are so ready to go corporate, except you're already there, so that point was irrelevant. Anyway, I really enjoyed this from Seth.
Yeah, it was fun. Seth's such a smarmy douche, and I love him so much for it.
Absolutely.